Hello friends, how's everyone doing today? I'm doing great. I'm going to make some homemade hamburger buns this afternoon because we're going to be doing grilled hamburgers for dinner, and I thought, wow, I should go ahead and do some homemade hamburger buns. You know, anything homemade to me is better than store-bought, and especially bread, buns, anything like that. I love to make myself. So this ingredient, or these hamburger buns, you need a large bowl. You need to dissolve your yeast in some warm water. So first of all, let's get the warm water added. It is 1 cup plus 2 tablespoons of warm water, and you need the temperature to be between 110 and 115 degrees because you don't want to kill your yeast by having the water too hot. I went ahead and measured out 1 cup and 2 tablespoons of warm water. Now I need 2 tablespoons, here's my tablespoon, of dry yeast, which I keep my yeast in a little pint jar because I buy my yeast. I buy a big thing of yeast from Sam's. Get a little spoon out here. Let's get this stirred up. I like to get my yeast to dissolve just a little bit before I pour in my other items. Okay. And then you need, it's not dissolved yet, sorry. But then next you need 1/4 cup of sugar. And I like my buns just lightly sweetened. Not really sweet roll or hamburger buns, but just lightly sweetened. And actually, these are supposed to be similar to Burger King buns. I don't put sesame seeds on mine. I don't care for sesame seeds. So anyway, it's 1/4 cup of sugar. Get that measured out here. Let me see here, 1/4 cup. Sorry, I'm having a hard time seeing that one. Okay, 1/4 cup of sugar in with my yeast and my water, and give that a good stir. Actually, sugar helps activate your yeast. Now I want to add my oil. It's 1/3 cup of vegetable oil. Pour that in. Give that a stir. Get it all good and mixed up. Okay, and then we want to let that stand for 5 minutes. While I'm letting it stand, I'm going to go ahead and turn my oven on. So you need to turn your oven on to 425 degrees. Let's get that preheated while I'm waiting on my yeast, my water, and my sugar. You have to let that stand for 5 minutes. So I'm going to put the timer on for 5 minutes. Okay, I've let my ingredients set for 5 minutes. That was the yeast, the warm water, and the vegetable oil, and 1/4 cup of the sugar. Now you want to add an egg. And this needs to be at room temperature. Now, if you forgot to get your egg out, I will tell you something that, I dropped a little shell in there. Whoops, I should have cracked it in my oh boy. I should have cracked it in my bowl first. Okay, I got my eggshell out. Sorry about that. Oh, I should have cracked it in the bowl first. Anyway, if you forgot to get your egg out, I put it in some warm water for about 5 minutes. Not hot water, just some warm water, and it will come to room temperature quickly. So I've added my egg. I need to add a teaspoon of salt. I love these measuring spoons. They're not only, they have, if you look, the print on them is wonderful, especially if you don't see that well. And then these are magnets. So the spoons all stick together. I love them. You're not losing your spoons. So I'm going to give this a little stir. Get that stirred up. That was the salt and the egg. Now we need 3 to 3.5 cups of flour. Get this out. So I'm going to start with 3. Let's see and see how that does. There's 1. 2. 3. And then I need more. I'll add a half more cup. Now, I love stirring my flours with, this is a Danish dough whisk. I absolutely love this. I think it stirs your flour, like anytime you're making anything, well, especially dough. I get dough for bread. I just think it just stirs it so much better. Yeah, I'm going to have to add the other half cup because this is definitely too wet. See how wet this is? It's way too wet. So we're going to do a half a cup. Here we go. Stir that around. Anyway, you can get these Danish dough whisks off of Amazon. They're not very expensive. And I absolutely love mine. And then after you get this stirred up, you kind of see it's more of a dough consistency now. Get some of this dough off of here. I like baking when it gets cooler. You know, the house doesn't get as hot. I hate when you're baking and you have the air conditioner on and it's so hot. I hate that. Anyway, I am going to knead it. I don't know if you can see this, but I have a silicone mat. It's a silicone baking mat. You can do your kneading on these mats. You can actually put these in the oven and bake on them, which I'm going to do. I'm going to bake these rolls, or not rolls, but these hamburger buns on. They're so nice. They don't stick. They're not hard to get off the pan. It's wonderful. So I'm going to give this a knead. It says knead it between 3 and 5 minutes. That's what I'm going to do. I wonder how many people still make homemade bread and rolls. They're so good. I love making homemade hot rolls, homemade bread. My family, that's their favorite. Homemade biscuits, things like that. They're so good. This dough is so pretty. Isn't that gorgeous? That's a gorgeous piece of dough, isn't it? Okay, now after I've got my dough kneaded, which I didn't knead it that long, but I'm going to take it, I'm going to flatten it out just a little bit. Not flat, just, make it even looking. Now, we're going to take it. You do not have to let this rise. Isn't that wonderful? It says divide it in 12 pieces, but I don't think they make big enough hamburger buns for 12 to divide it in 12. So I'm going to do 8. And this, show you what this, see how well this cuts the dough? This is a dough cutter. I love this thing. And there's certain utensils that I just love, and this is one of them. It's a dough cutter, dough scraper, whatever you want to call it. So I'm going to cut these into 4s. So I'm going to cut it in half, and then cut each half into a half. Okay, so I've made 8. I mean, I guess if you don't need big hamburger buns, but I mean, who doesn't need it? You know, a nice size hamburger bun. Then you just kind of roll these out a little bit, shape them into a ball. You know, you kind of want them pretty. I mean, not pretty, but you know what I mean. So that when you have when you're, you know, cutting them for a hamburger bun, I mean, you don't want it to look horrible. So this is the size I normally put mine in, about like this. I mean, you don't, they say you don't have to flatten it out, but I think you do because it's not going to raise. And you know, your hamburgers are good size. So there's one. And I don't have to flour this, or I don't have to grease the sheet pan because I put my silicone mat on there. Silicone mat. So let's get all these done. Is anyone looking forward to winter? I'm not. I just can't help it. I don't care for winter. I like summer. I like spring. I like to plant flowers. I like to put in a garden. I miss my garden produce. I miss my fresh homemade tomatoes, which is my favorite. I love tomatoes. I just, you know, I love, you know, fresh potatoes and green beans. Just so good, isn't it? And garden season's over. I put my garden to bed for the winter. I cover it with a layer of cardboard and hay. It's done. And you know, I hate it because I love flowers. I put my hummingbird feeder up already because I feed the hummingbirds. I do have a few flowers that's still hanging in there. I did buy some mums just for, you know, color. Okay. Great thing, like I said, you do not have to let these raise. You don't have to let your dough raise. You don't have to let it rest. You just form it into your patties. Put it on your baking sheet. When the ovens come to 325 degrees, you pop them in the oven. Okay. One more. And then as soon as my oven comes to 425, oh, and it is already 425. It came to 425 before I got all the hamburger buns shaped. But if you like the idea of the silicone mat, it's such easy cleanup, folks. It really is. It's easy cleanup. You know how you always get flour all over your counter, and it's just a pain to try and clean off. You just lift this, okay, my hamburger buns are done. You just lift this mat up and, you know, get the flour in it. And really, you rinse it off and it's clean. Of course, I do wash it, but it's clean after you rinse it off, basically. So, here are my hamburger buns. Let's move this so you can see them. Hamburger buns. I did 8. and they're good size. I like this recipe. It's really good. All right, I'm going to take this mat over and dump it into the trash, just the flour off of it. I'm going to give this mat just a real quick rinse and then show it to you. That's why I love, well, just a little wash. I love this mat. It is so easily cleaned. Don't you love things that are easy to clean? I do. Quick, easy. Not a ton of cleanup. But that's something else I was going to tell you. You know, as you're cooking, clean as you cook. I've already washed my measuring cups, so that part's clean. Can you see how clean this is? I put it in the sink with water, gave it a quick wash, dry it off, and show you how, that's so quick, so easy. It's nice and clean. I'm going to set it over here on a towel and let it dry really well before I roll it up and put it away. But I love quick, easy cleanups. So I'm going to give my counter a little wipe. I'm going to put these hamburger buns in the oven. You bake them for 10 minutes. 10 minutes. How quick was this? This was so quick and so easy, folks. I'm going to put them in the oven 10 minutes. 425 degrees. I'll check on them before the 10 minutes is up. So while that's baking, I'm going to clean up. I have a bowl. I have my scraper. A couple of little spoons. I'm going to put my flour and sugar up. Get this cleaned up, and then we'll be right back. Folks, it's been almost 10 minutes. My timer will go off here in just a couple seconds. I'm going to check the rolls and see if they're done. If they're not, we'll bake them a little longer. Now, I will tell you too, when you're cooking with the silicone mats, check the bottom of your biscuits or your hot rolls, or like today, hamburger buns, to make sure that they're brown. Because with silicone mats, sometimes they'll be brown on top, but because of the silicone, and I'm not sure why, they won't have brown on the bottom. They won't burn the top, but you just need to always check the bottoms. So let me get the hamburger buns out and look at them. Oh, almost. A few, maybe another minute. Pop these back in the oven. And we'll keep a close eye on them. And while they were baking, so 10 minutes while they're baking, I missed a little spot on the counter there. Where they're baking 10 minutes, and that's all they have to bake for. Maybe 11, depends. I got all my dishes washed. And I got my kitchen cleaned up. So total time, I'm going to say 20 minutes of making them. That's 5 minutes to let them rest. Quick, easy recipe. Baking for 10 minutes. You're going to have some homemade hamburger buns that are totally delicious. And it's fresh ingredients, no preservatives, sugar, yeast, a little salt, water, oil, and flour. And it's so quick and easy. I love this recipe. Keep a close eye on these. I just don't want them to burn. So within a few minutes, half hour, you can have them made. You can have your kitchen cleaned and be ready to go. Now what I'll do is I will let these cool. I'll let the hamburger buns cool. I'll probably put them on a cooling rack and let them cool. And when they cool down, I won't slice them yet, but after they're cool, I will put them in a Ziploc bag, a gallon bag, and keep them until we're ready for dinner tonight. And boy, won't those taste good. I mean, they are so good. If you're pressed for time, you know, get the store-bought. But if you want something that's homemade, something that's delicious, you know, get the hamburger buns. Or make yourself hamburger buns. I'm going to check these again. Look a little browner. But the key is, look at the bottom. Always check the bottom of your, when you're baking on silicone. Oh, they're nice and brown on the bottom. Okay, these are done. Look at that. Look at these. They're gorgeous. And they're so tasty. And I think they're the perfect size. Let me turn off my oven. I do have a pack of hamburger buns here. Don't think I always make hamburger buns because I don't. But these are a pack of Sunny buns. I'm going to just take one and place it beside. Of course, my buns aren't as round, but they're done. So, comparable in size. Can you see that? I'm not sure if you can or not. I can't touch one because they're so hot. Let me put one here. See how they're comparable in size? Mine aren't as brown, but mine are done. They're nice and toasty brown on the bottom, and they're brown on top. And they're baked for as long as they wanted, or supposed to. So, folks, these are going to be so good for this evening. I'm going to get a cooling rack and put them on, let them cool, put them in a Ziploc bag, and then we'll have them for dinner. I'll cut them before or after, you know, I grill the hamburgers. We'll have some delicious homemade hamburger buns with dinner tonight. Folks, have a great day, and I hope you enjoy my videos. If you do, give me a little thumbs up, please. Thank you so much, and have a great day.